We're here at day one of boot camp, just before it opens, with Shuyler from Nick's Boots, Spokane, Washington. Shuyler, this is not, in fact, technically a Nick's boot that I'm holding.
That's a great point, Ben, and thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming. Really well. I'm glad you guys made the trip. What is this beautiful thing?
So this is, I think our subreddit calls it the fancy boot. We're going to call it the Brandle boot. So this is named after my in-laws. My grandfather-in-law had a boot store in Chillicothe, Ohio, back in like 1925. This is the 1925 model from the Brandle line, and this is the 1925 last right down here. So this is a brand new boot for us. It shares no components with the Nick's boot. It's completely different approach, I would say. It's a dress boot. It is something we've really been working hard on for the last year or so.
No component shared, similar pattern, but I feel like, or let's say reminiscent pattern of kind of Nick's, but also there's certainly some differences that we spoke about earlier.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different. So this counter is actually two pieces. So there's quite a bit of effort that goes into making this line up. It's two pieces to minimize the bulk. This is a very interesting component, this brass plate. This is actually comes in sheets of brass, and this is how it starts out. It's on here, and then, we cut out a piece of the heel base, we fit it in, and then we actually trim this off with the table saw. Very elegant, but it actually ends up looking pretty darn good.
It's clean.
Then you buff it out. Funny thing about this is this gets so hot that you have to let it sit for about an hour. So that's kind of a fun thing in the production area. Another thing I'll mention, so we let this sit on the last for 3 days. A Nick's boot, it's not flying, but it definitely doesn't sit on the last for 3 days. So this takes even more time to make. By sitting on the last longer, the glue gets to seat, all the imperfections of the leather get kind of ironed out, and just makes for a kind of cleaner looking boot. Obviously, there's a cost to that. The boot's got to sit for a longer period of time, and you just can't make as many in the same amount of time.
In terms of leathers you're using,
good
different from the rest of the Nick's line?
So they'll have kind of 3 tiers to this. So entry tier on this guy will share the double stuff browns and buck browns and the naturals with the Nick's line. But then we're actually going to offer this in the Galloon calf. You've talked to Ed, did a great job on that interview. Yeah, Ed's here, he's a great guy. So this is actually an example of the calf. This is their cognac. Calf, interestingly, was kind of designed to replace shell cordovan, back in like the 60s and 70s, because it's got that really tight grain and that very clean aesthetic and dress look. We're going to be offering that in 4 colors: black, a buck brown-ish color, burgundy, and that dark cognac right there. We'll also be offering this in your favorite leather, which is
just like a random rough out that looks really dirty.
shell cordovan.
Shell cordovan.
So
I do like shell.
We will be getting a few pieces of shell each month and offering that at kind of the top end of the spectrum there.
Speaking of leather,
yeah,
JR soles.
Leather soles. We do have, we will be offering this in the day and night. Probably not this model, probably the Ridgeway, but we will, for those that do live in wetter climates and want to wear it and not, maybe worry about falling down a steep hill, we will be offering a rubber line. But this is kind of the pièce de résistance, right? So these are brass nails. We stencil these, so they'll have a bit of a pattern to them. JR, obviously known as great soles and heel bases, and I think it looks really beautiful. Yeah.
These will probably be pretty cheap.
They'll be very a great value, I think, for what you get. But yeah, we'll be starting around the $1,000 mark and kind of going from there.
Not bad.
But I think that's actually a lot for your money. You get a lot, just the time and the craftsmanship that goes in. So this is a separate line from the normal Nick's bootmakers. These are like the people that have been there for 10 to 20 years, and have a lot of experience and are super excited to make this boot and spend extra time just making sure that it comes out perfect.
Yeah, I mean, Nicks are great boots. They don't have this level of detailing. I mean, even the SPI is, I would say, significantly.
Yep.
Is it increased or decreased? Increased.
It's increased.
Yeah.
Stitches per inch. Yeah, there are more.
Smaller stitches.
Yeah. So this is about
but more of them.
Like 30 to 40% more SPI, I would say. We'll use a smaller thread on the upper. It just looks a little more elegant. The eyelets are smaller. This is a bellowed tongue, so the tongue will match the leather. That's an issue with us on the Nicks side. If you want a fully gusseted tongue, it's hard to get it to match because it's hard to spec the leather to work really well as both an upper and as a gusset.
Right.
Even if you skive it down or split it down. So this I think is just, I'm really proud of this. The team has done a wonderful job, and I think we've ended up with something really special here, and I can't wait to share that with the fans and people interested and get it on people's feet.
One more.
Yep.
Whole new last, correct?
Yeah, whole new last. So we worked with our kind of pattern maker / development partner, and this is the 1925 last. So it does, it's a dress last. I think some things that are interesting. It does have a relatively wide forefoot for comfort. We have tested this out with people. It matches up pretty well with their sizing, but it fits really well. It's very comfortable. And then you can see how kind of sleek this toe is, right? Mm-hmm. If you compare the toe shape on these boots compared to a 55 or an H&W, it's really a world of difference. And, it just has that sleeker dress look.
Similar sizing? Is that what you said?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Size with confidence.
Size with confidence.
Availability?
So we're going to start out pretty slow. So we'll be offering this shortly here in the next few weeks, but only making about 20 pairs per month to start out with.
All right.
We don't want to jam up, the regular Nicks production line, and also want to make sure we take some time to get this perfect, and then we'll obviously increase production as we get it dialed in into 2024.
All right. Shuyler, thanks for coming to boot camp and making some cool stuff.
Hey, thanks for having us. A lot of fun. Really looking forward to the show.